Hi, this is Baljeet Khan, and in this video we will learn about something. One of the viewer of a video, he made a comment that how we get the throughput values, and he says that from where we are getting a lot of different throughput values and how Pathloss is getting those values, where those values are coming. So in response to him, I thought that let me make a small video and let me share this information with everyone because maybe everyone may have a same or similar question. So let's go in a random microwave link. So whenever I make a video, usually I don't go in detail of everything. I just want people so that they can try to ask some questions, and then based on those questions, I can make another video and give some kind of detail. So when I make a link with the adaptive modulation, if you see here, the adaptive modulation based radio. So in adaptive modulation, because we know that the radio will adapt to different modulations. So these values are generated for all the modulations which the radio supports. Like this radio, it can go from 16 QAM to 1024 QAM. And if you see here, there are different throughputs for every modulation. And then there are different values as well. And one value is blue and the remaining values are black. So one question was that from where these values are coming, how Pathloss knows or how it calculates. So basically Pathloss does not calculate any of these values. These are values are provided by the vendor in the equipment or the radio file itself. Let me show you. If we go to the radio file and if I click on this TR, so basically if you remember when we import a new radio file, at that time also we come on this window. At that time I had said that I will try to explain this in some later time. So this is a place where we can put some adaptive modulation parameters. We can make some changes here, and let me tell you why we make changes. But if it is adaptive modulation, then we have different modulations and values based on those modulations. If it has a single modulation radio, a normal radio, microwave radio, then it don't have these different values. So what we can do here is that one thing that we can do is that we can make any of these modulation as a reference. So by reference, what it means is that this modulation will be used wherever the word reference modulation is being used. So it is normally used at least in two places. One is when you're doing an interference analysis, then interference analysis is done based on the reference modulation of all the radios. It is not done for all the modulations because assume that you have 100 links with 8 or 10 modulations, then you can assume that how many possibilities will become. I mean, you will have to calculate interference from every modulation to every modulation. So it will make millions and billions of possibilities. So modulation is done only with the reference modulation. And the other use is that when you try to see this table, you have two options of looking at this table, which I will show you in a minute. So let me just tell you that how to change it and what are the other things. I mean, like for example, you can double click on any point and then you can say yes, it will be changed here. And we can see here that whenever you change a modulation, you can also change the TX power value as well. Like this TX power, it can be used from +5 to 30. Here it's taking the highest TX power. So you can double click and change this TX power. You can write any value between +5 to +30. So you can do two things. I mean, you can set a TX power and you can set any modulation as a reference. So when I will click yes, you see here this blue line, it shifted to this one which I have selected as the reference power. So we have changed the reference here, and let me show you. If you go in adaptive modulation, if you click this button, you see in display format we have two options, either a summary display for all modulation which we were already looking at, or the detailed display of reference modulation. You see the reference modulation word is written here. If I will click this and I will say yes, now this table is only for the reference modulation, not for the other modulation. So the reference modulation which is being used in the interference as well, we are just looking at the table for that reference modulation. Also, let me show you one thing exactly, that from where these values comes. We have gone in TR, but if I go in this pattern icon, if I click it, this has opened the radio file for me. I can open this file in AntRad as well, but just to see the file, that what is in the file, I can open it directly from here. And if you come down, you can see that this is the adaptive modulation data. And in that data, you can see the same table. You can see almost all the values which we were seeing here, like modulation, the throughput, the SEC. SEC is something like a spectrum efficiency. So these are some values which shows that how much efficient this spectrum is, and TX power, threshold, and everything. So I hope that the question is answered. I mean, now you know that from where these values are coming. Pathloss is not calculating; they are coming from the vendor data. It's coming from the radio files, and we can make a reference. We can change the reference from here. We can change the TX power as well, and here we can see different type of tables. Either we can see the detailed display of reference modulation, or we can see the summary display for all modulation. Usually I keep it in this way. So I hope that this video should be beneficial. If you have any other question, or if you feel something is still missing in this for you, or something you did not fully get up till now, so you can make another comment and we can talk about that. Okay, see you. Goodbye.